first impression that comes to our mind about any college: tall buildings, big classrooms, large lobby areas, thick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects. Nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona, cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.
Good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all to the second day of session orientation program. We have a very exciting session lined up for all the students today. All of our students would recognize our guest, Mr. Pankaj Raket sir. Sir has been with us since SIFI and he has also been with us with ICANN. And for the second day, we have a wonderful session titled The Wonderful World of Moving Images and Sound. Well, before I introduce the guest, I want to request Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, to orient us and give us the welcoming address. Sir.
Thank you, Sachin. So I welcome Mr. Pankaj Rakesh to this session. He has been a close associate with us, and he's such a modest person that he's always willing to whatever we ask for. So as Sachin already told you also, he was, he extended all kind of help when we organized the International Film Festival SIFI in December 2020. And in ICANN also he was there, and when we thought of having this orientation program, then he willingly agreed to talk to you all. Talking about this session orientation program, because this is something new that we have come out last year. Because whenever the new batch starts in any educational institution, we always have the orientation program, which is organized formally, wherein we invite the industry persons mostly to talk to the students and orient them at the outset of their 3 years journey. But then the kind of syllabus that we have in IP University, that there are 6 semesters every semester, and every year there are different papers which are being taught to the students. So we felt a need last year that there has to be some kind of orientation before students start their second year and the third year, and it was felt all the more necessary under the circumstances which were there last year. To some extent the same is happening this year as well, wherein we were forced to, last year we were forced to, now we are accustomed to this online education. So we wanted to bridge this gap, this lack of communication which prevailed between the college and the students. Another important part that we thought of, and we actually executed that if these kind of conditions are there, so how to make a benefit of those conditions. So that is how we approached all such good people, all such experts in their own field, whether they are located in Delhi or in any part of India. We approached them, and that is how we organized, we conceived different sessions. Like this year, this whole SOP, this session orientation program, has been divided into 2 parts. Last year, we had just for 1 week. This year, we divided into 2 parts. The first week, the last week is we had the orientation sessions by the faculty members only. And this week, starting yesterday, we planned certain sessions taken by the senior people of the industry and the academics. So that is how this, but then I must tell you that we have invited experts from Mumbai, and there are simultaneous sessions happening, like alongside with this session, another session is happening for the 5th semester students, and the session is being taken by Professor Meera Desai, who is a professor and registrar in SNDT University, Mumbai. So similarly, we have invited experts from Bangalore, from Chennai, ready to talk to the students. So this particular session, Mr. Pankaj Rakesh is a veteran as far as the filmmaking and film education is concerned. It's a rare combination which is hardly found, that one is good in the professional things and at the same time as far as the imparting all those skills, all that knowledge to the students as a teacher, as a trainer. So one is good in that. So Mr. Pankaj Rakesh is a combination of these two things, and that is how we believe that the kind of input that he is going to give you all, that will be your lifetime experience, and you will be making use of all that information which is to be provided to you in this session. So with this, I welcome Mr. Pankaj Rakesh in this session, and over to you, Sachin.
Thank you very much, sir. As I introduce Pankaj sir, I want to carry forward from where Ambrish sir left off. The testimony to the passion Pankaj sir shares can be seen by this fact that yesterday when I called sir to coordinate for the session, Pankaj actually was talking about a film and he became excited, and he even said that you must hold another session with the students and we can even have a conversation. So, Pankaj sir, in an eventful career spanning over 2 decades, Mr. Pankaj Rakesh has been involved with diverse media platforms and filmmaking. An alumnus of the second batch of MCRC Jamia Millia Islamia, he has worked in almost all filmmaking centers across India on wide-ranging international projects within the country and overseas as well. He's a published photographer, author, and currently engages in training filmmaking students and media aspirants in reputed media institutions across the country. Also, as sir and even I mentioned before, sir was one of our judges during SIFI and has had wonderful sessions in SIFI and ICANN, and all our students would recognize him for those. Sir, all our curious students and myself included, we are all waiting to hear from you. So over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Professor Bala, it's good to see you again, ma'am. Dr. Saxena, thank you for having me here again. And Sachin, thank you for those kind words. And it's a pleasure to be back at DME. Feels kind of familiar, feels almost like a second home now. But thank you so much for that warmth and love and affection. And it's good to be talking to students at this wonderful institution. This medium is, there's so much to talk about, and to try and condense it in. So my discussion with Professor Saxena and Sachin students is that we go with about 50 minutes. We have about 90 minutes today. So we go with about 55 minutes of my talking to you and illustrating that with some inputs like clips from films, some ad films that I've worked on, and some photographs that I've taken. And from there, so that leaves you about 35 minutes of Q&A, question and answer session. And I'd love it if you guys wrote down your questions and then took them on. However, if you think that I may pass on something that you would like to know, please raise hand or interrupt and let Sachin sir know, and then we can take up that question there and then. Because sometimes you move on and the relevance of that question then becomes null and void or diminished. So it'd be nice if you feel like interrupting me at any time and asking me a question, I'd welcome that. Feel free to do that, please. That's for all of you students who are attending this. There is going to be an interactive session. I'm going to be playing you out some audio clips, and that's when I will ask you guys to respond to that accordingly once I show that to you, or once I play that out for you. This business is about storytelling. This wonderful world of moving images is, if you put it in other words, if you put in another form, is nothing but the art of storytelling. And what we tend to forget is that we've been hearing stories since our childhood. We've been reading stories first in forms of books, comics, graphic novels. And then for somebody like me who grew up and spent a lot of time with my grandparents, because my father was in the army and he was constantly getting posted all over the country. Sometimes we could accompany him, sometimes we couldn't. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. And we had 18 volumes of Mahabharata lying around at home. Lots of people tell you not to keep Mahabharata at home. बोलते हैं घर में लड़ाई हो जाती है, फूट पड़ जाती है. But my grandmother debunked all those theories, and she said, you must learn. And every afternoon when we'd come back from school, I was going to a wonderful school called Springdales in those days. It's a popular school in Delhi. And we would get a dose of Mahabharata, and eventually we got so hooked onto it that my brother and I would insist she read them out every afternoon. So no matter how tired she was, we'd go and pick out the volume and she'd read it out to us. And believe it or not, later when I grew up and I started studying about filmmaking and writing and script writing, you see how beautifully scripted Mahabharata is, which is why everybody will tell you it is the greatest epic, the greatest story, the script ever written is actually the Mahabharata. So hats off to Mr. Ved Vyas, wherever he is, happy and contented that his legacy continues. And it's one of the best stories that has ever been written and told. And it was fun seeing what Mr. B.R. Chopra did later on television. And more than Ramayana, in fact, the Mahabharata telecast on Doordarshan, it used to be Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. There was not a single road on Delhi. That is the best time to travel anywhere in the city. In fact, no traffic. Everybody was glued to their sets, and we were just mesmerized by what we saw. And for me, it was amazing to see a story that I had heard unfold in a visual and audio form, an audio-visual form. So therein lies the crux, the storytelling form. If you go back in history, all of storytelling was only in the oral format, audio format. If you look at our own country, there are certain sects and communities who were only given to sing praises of the kings. उनका काम ही यही होता था कि they would travel from village to village, town to town, singing praises of the king, and they were paid to do that. There are communities that only wrote couplets praising the king. So that was the first PR agency that you ever saw or that you ever heard, because they would come and they would start singing songs or narrating stories of how great the king was, how he killed a tiger in the wild on elephant back, or how many wars he fought and how many wars he won, how much of land he's captured. And those are the first forms of storytelling. You look at Europe, you look at the British community, you look at the European community, and in the old you had bards, B-A-R-D-S. They were storytellers. You had the singing minstrels. There is a concept of the singing minstrels, and they would go around singing stories from town to town, village to village, again telling stories. In the Roman civilization, you had people called the hailers. They would come in the community, in the public square, and when they read out the farman of the village, of the king, of the lords of that area, feudal lords. So that's how you got to know what the latest enactment of the taxes were, what is news of the kingdom, the news of the land, because you didn't have access to something called Google or internet, obviously, or mobile telephony in those days, right? So what am I trying to tell you? All of what we've seen so far was oral, audio. Plays, street theater followed, and thus you got the moving image. So far, you had just the lips that were moving. You got stories to tell. You heard stories. So the emphasis was more on audio than the video, than the visual, than the film. And so there is a question in the chat here. Oh, sorry. That's okay. I'm going to just share my screen, please. And can I? Do I have permission? Yes, I do.
You can. You're a co-host.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. Thank you. Can Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, wonderful. So what am I going to do? So the first, we moved on from still images, whether it is the snow in Srinagar. Sorry, is that, oh, I have to share screen combined, sorry, desktop. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now? Sachin?
We can, sir. We can.
Okay. So whether it is Kashmir with the winters or the Dal Lake that is almost frozen over, right? Or it was the sand dunes of Dubai with the lovely caravan, or it was the Victoria Memorial Museum in Calcutta, or it is this lovely farmhouse in Chhatarpur in Delhi, or a bird sanctuary, or freezing motion on a show jumping national competition, or it is just the play of light and color, or if it is just the play of lights and perspective at the Dudhwa National Park, right? So we moved from still images to the moving image. And while those pictures told us a story, we were told a picture is worth 1,000 words. We got bored of listening to that adage, that statement. Everybody talks about it. Every teacher who interacts with you guys will tell you that. But it's actually true. So, what was so mesmerizing about the moving image? The moving image asked you to observe more. The moving image asked you to imbibe and absorb more. You literally became like a sponge, soaking in what is happening, listening to what is being said on the screen. Small, big, or now your 6-inch device called your smartphone. Everything is being resized, adapted to fit into your phone because that is one device that remains on 24/7, right? So times are changing. However, what is not changing is the aspects of storytelling, right? Aristotle talked about the three-act structure. Mr. William Shakespeare enhanced that, but Pandit Ved Vyas had already done the story three-act structure, right? The other thing about storytelling is one is a three-act structure. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Then there is something also called there is a protagonist. A protagonist has a goal, and the rest of the story, the film, the plot is all about the obstacles that your protagonist has to face, all the challenges the protagonist has to overcome to reach his or her goal, to accomplish the mission, to accomplish what they set out to do. So if you look at Mahabharat, that's what it is. So you look at any film, and within these two parameters, you will be able to get a line of sight into what was the writer thinking about. And that's the beauty of writing. So let's not talk enough about writing. Let's talk about how good your observation skills are. Let's talk about how well are you observing things and absorbing stuff that is shown to you, right? So I'm going to play you a video clip now. I'm moving away from pictures. I'm now getting into the moving image. So I'm going to show you a video clip. And I want you guys to take a look at this clip and then give me your answer. Please pay attention, students, to this clip and give me your answer. Anybody willing to give me the answer quickly?
Sir, Aryan says
Uh,
10.
Sorry,
Aryan says 10.
Aryan says 10. Anybody else? There are answers coming on the chat, I think.
Yes, sir.
12. Nupur Bakshi says 13. Tina Solanki says 12. Priya says 9. Okay. Let's see how observant you were. Let's watch the rest of it. So that was not the test. The awareness test was, did you see the moon walking there? How observant were you? So let me look at the chat. Everyone, only one person got it right actually. Only Nupur got 13 right. Okay, but the question here was something very different. The whole ad was again about awareness, about observation. And it's an ad to look out for cyclists on busy roads in the UK. What a lovely story it is. And what a wonderful way of doing public service advertising, right? Or a PSA, a public service announcement. So the more interesting you make your line of communication, the more out of the box you think, the more responsive it is, the more attractive it is. And today, when we get so much of visual clutter in our lives, we need something that will bring a smile. I saw Bala ma'am smiling, I saw Sachin smiling. It brings a smile to your face. And that's what we are looking for. Okay. Now I'm just playing another one for you, and please observe this very, very carefully. Okay. So, so some of you caught on, some of you are watching closely. So you caught on to a couple of them. But there are actually 21 changes, and you saw how quickly, how well rehearsed that team was to actually execute that video. And the trick and the beauty and the good sense lies in coordination, in teamwork. And that's something that you will find that you will all have to undergo when you're doing this course. Filmmaking, any aspects, whether you're doing documentaries, whether you're doing ad films, or doing feature films, everything is man management. Every film that you will make, you will be divided into groups, not just in an institution like DME, but even when you go outside to work, you'll be thrown against people you've never met before, people you've never worked before. You'll be out of your comfort zone socially. And that's the beauty of this business, that you're constantly moving from project to project, from film to film, from subject to subject, and you meet new people, you get to learn new stuff. But what you also learn and what you also need to be open to is man management, is working with different people, working with different groups of people, with ideologies which are different, people coming from different socio-economic backgrounds, people with different styles of learning. And then the only thing that will matter is how good are you with people? How are your people skills? How are your social skills? And secondly, will be your professional skills. How good has been your learning on campus? I hope you all learn to observe and absorb. Again, I keep using these two words. And there is a reason why I'm saying that, because that's what's going to come in handy when you move out. How much of learning on campus, whether it's through your practical exercises or in class, in theory, have you actually retained in your hard drive here? And how good is your memory recall? right? How good is your processor in the head that it recalls those lessons quickly and you're able to execute the learning. Learning is one thing, but how good are you at executing that learning? That will also decide what you do. Okay. Uh, then there is, I want to introduce another concept to you, the very basic foundation of every fiction exercise. It could be this wonderful stuff that you're watching on OTT platforms, or films, or TV shows, or reality shows. And this is a concept that you must ingrain in the head. It's called willing suspension of disbelief. If you haven't already, Sachin sir hasn't already taught you, Balaman hasn't already taught you, it is the willing suspension of disbelief. It's a very interesting conundrum of words. There is actually a contradiction. It's willing, suspension, and disbelief. So you suspend your disbelief when you walk into that theater or when you switch off the lights in your bedroom or your living room, wherever you're watching, whatever you're watching, with a cup of coffee or a Coke or a Pepsi or a popcorn, and you're enjoying the film or a show. The promise that you make to yourself is, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. So if Mr. Bachchan is going to walk into or go down and bash up 6 people who are much bigger in size and bulk and faster and younger than him, and he's going to bash them up and lock them up in the go down with it, put the key in his pocket. So you say, okay, Mr. Bachchan can do it. Or if Tom Cruise is going to scale up Burj Khalifa, you said, okay, Tom Cruise can actually do it. Or he's hanging from the tail fin of a aircraft which is about to take off. You said, okay, Tom Cruise can actually do it, or my hero can actually do it. So you suspend your disbelief for those 2.5 hours or 45 minutes or the duration of your entertainment. So this forms the basics. But however, and again, I'm contradicting myself, you still have to make your stories plausible. Your stories still have to be believable. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief for the sake of entertainment. But I cannot be taken as a viewer, I cannot be taken as a fool and be fed stuff saying, no, ye nahi ho sakta. And the Bongs, the Bengalis have this term which is very nicely said, and that says, hobe na, not possible. And that actually sums it up. So those of you who come from that part of the country will understand this phrase very well. Right? So willing suspension is an underlying concept that is the very foundation of every fiction film that you will make, every short film that you will make, every series that you will develop in fiction. I was taught this when I was applying. I had never heard of it. I was a great movie buff. All through my college, I've just been watching films. And that came in handy when I applied for Jamia in my master's to do my mass comm. Because I was able to talk a lot. And then I had a very good mentor, my English teacher, my English professor in college. I'm a BCom honors graduate. And then I wanted to get into mass comm or journalism. I got through to IIMC, I got through to Jamia, and I went through to Jamia. And the beauty of it is the decision was taken out of my hands by 2 ladies who I always thank at every platform that I can get. Because both of them, and I was freelance with All India Radio at that time. That was the only radio network that we had in the country in 1982, 83. So in 83, they said, okay, Pankaj, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to IIMC. They said, fine. 84, they said, there's a new institution called Masscom Research Center at Jamia. Why don't you apply there? And my admission forms were got for me at AIR. I filled up those forms and I was told that I would not get any more programs from them if I did not go and submit my forms at Jamia. And thanks to them, I am in this business now, and I'm extremely grateful for them. So if you have a very good mentor who can guide you and who has a better vision than you, accept that advice very willingly, because it's not very often you get good, well-meaning, good intention mentors who will guide you and guide your future. And I let my future, and I got through both IMC as well as MassCom, and the decision they said nothing doing. You're going to Jamia. It has a degree. You have Canadian teachers, Canadian collaboration. We had teachers from York University, Toronto teaching us for the first 2-3 years. And there I was. Today, my batchmates are teaching at MassCom Research Center at MCRC Jamia. There's 4-5 ladies who are handling affairs at MCRC are my batchmates there. And I've been teaching different media schools for the past 14 years, 12 to 14 years now, while also working. So I've been a visiting faculty. Okay, sorry, I'm just giving a little introduction to myself because to inspire where you are coming from. And please, like these 2 videos, learn to observe yourself. As filmmakers, you will draw inspiration from your surroundings. All your stories, all your films will be from the experiences that you have faced. Mark Twain had this very interesting quote where he says, experience what men call their mistakes. You know, we learn from what we go through. And somehow we retain those memories, whether they are pleasant or they are not so pleasant. And all our films come from that. Which is why Karan Johar will never make a Gangs of Wasipur. Because he's not from that social milieu, he's not from that background. And neither will you ever find an Anurag Kashyap making Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Because Anurag Kashyap ki zindagi mein kuch kuch kabhi aisa nahi hua tha. You know, he comes from a very different, he's from, I think, Hansraj College in Delhi University. He studied in DU, both him and his younger brother, Abhinav, had studied in Delhi. So their inspirations are drawn from their experiences in DU or back home in Bihar and UP. So that's where we all draw our inspirations from. Whatever happens in our lives, in our life cycles, that's where we draw inspiration from. So I'm taking you forward into the very quickly into the shortest form of storytelling and the most complete form of storytelling, and that is through ads. Advertising is the best and the most perfect way to encapsulate the moving image and sound, because you have to tell a story, you have to sell a product or a service all within 60 seconds. And if it doesn't make sense, it's bombed. And you are fighting for space amongst other better made ads. And if your ad doesn't stand out, then you've lost it, and you've lost that money for your client. And the client is spending millions of dollars, crores of rupees to buy that space. All of you, I don't know if you're familiar with the Super Bowl in America, which is the American football finals, the most watched sports event in the world, right? At least in America. And a 10-second ad can set you back by a couple of $1 million. A 10-second ad during the finals, during the intermission, during the breaks of Super Bowl can set you back by a couple of $1 million. So if you are not able to convey what you want to in those 10 seconds or 30 seconds or 60 seconds, your history, right? Your product is lost and you're not going to get that brand placement, that so your branding is lost. So I've picked out a couple of ads that won international awards, and these are ads I've picked also for another reason, that you may not have seen these ads. Okay, so I'm going to play just 2 very interesting ads for you, and I want you to see these ads and see whether you like it or not. Willing suspension of disbelief. What is that ad about? That ad was about a roller coaster ride called Boomerang, right? Willing suspension of disbelief. Have you ever seen a bird emerge live from somebody's stomach? No. But for the sake of the ad, you give them poetic license and you're saying, okay, we believe that. So here is a guy who supposedly the story, the subtext is that their ride goes so high that this guy opens his mouth and he swallows a bird, and then they have to operate on him to get the bird out, and the bird flies out in the operation theater in that hospital. So literally in 4 shots, they've sold you a ride in an amusement park. And how cool is that? Here, please observe an amazing, poignant, and strong use of just ambient sound and the visual. There is nothing else to it. It's again a very strong statement of an ad. Did you see that? What a wonderful idea, what a wonderful concept, and so simply executed. Some of the best stuff that you'll see is most simply executed. It's that KISS concept, keep it simple, stupid. That's what works all the time. And that's uncluttered, neat, clean. Both those ads are international award-winning ads campaigns a few years ago. But look at the beauty of the statement. Somebody's actually thought about writing it. That there's a child on a swing on a beach, so he's only wearing his swimming trunks, and the rays of the sun are just passing through that for the most part of his body. Simple, poignant ad. You'll remember these ads. I can tell you, 6 months from now, I'll talk to you guys and you'll remember these ads because they're so Maggi hot and sweet sauce, different boss, right? Javed Jafri and Pankaj Kapoor made this line famous when Maggi launched hot and sweet sauce. Everybody went just like 2 minutes. So today it's called Maggi time because 2 minutes is Maggi time. Yeah. So this is now I'm taking a leaf from this last ad and telling you how important audio is. In the swing, all you could hear was just the sound of the swing, the creak of the metal rings on the metal bar on top, and the swing swaying back and forth. That's all you could hear, and the sound of the breeze in the background. Nothing else. Audio has the ability to change, enhance, strengthen our moods, our emotions, our feelings. It kind of preempts our mood. It sustains the mood and it reignites, re-strengthens the feeling that is being shown. So, and some of the most neglected aspect in our Indian filmmaking genre is audio. It is only the advent of people like Rasul Pokuti, who's got an Oscar and a Grammy, or Mr. Rahman, who's got an Oscar and a Grammy, that we've started paying attention to audio and music and background scores on. Right? Mr. Nakul Kamte, one of the leading sound recordists from the Bombay industry, has been hired by Netflix to head their post-production facility in Bombay, which is the only second such facility in the world. So all Netflix content from Southeast Asia, from Australia, from this Asia Pacific region is going to come and go through this facility for its tech check, audio check. Right? So what a wonderful honor for a sound recordist, for a sound designer, for a sound person, that he's being hired by somebody like Netflix to head this huge big tech post-production house, tech check house, which is coming up in Bombay. And Mr. Nakul Kamte is going to be heading it. Nakul Kamte, for you guys who don't know him, was the sound recordist of a wonderful small film, not so popular film called Lagan. Okay. He insisted on going for the recce. The recce is when you go for a check of your location, of your surroundings before you begin a shoot. Nakul Kamte insisted on going with the director and the DOP for location check, for a location recce. And when they when they chose, Ashutosh decided on where he was going to shoot the final climax scene, that cricket ground, that cricket field. Nakul was talking on a public platform and he said he had 6 cables laid underground that cricket field. So from outside the field, they tunneled 6 cables at different locations so he could place his mics at different locations all around the stadium to capture live sound. Today, in India, a lot of the young filmmakers like you guys, who will be filmmakers in a couple of years, are all insisting on doing live sound, sync sound recording on location. So the concept of dubbing is going away. So if they can do it in the rest of the country, if they can do live sound even in a country like Mexico or Malaysia, why can't we do live sound in India? Right? So a lot of people are now paying more and more attention to live sound, to sync sound, and retaining and keeping that sound that you see on location, that you hear on location. And then working on it, cleaning it up later during post-production. So here is what I'm going to do to support my theory of how music enhances mood, feelings, and more than that, it gets you thinking. I'm going to play you a couple of audio tracks now, right? And those audio tracks, I want you guys to tell me 2, 3 things. One is, what is the kind of emotion that does that audio track denote or bring out in your mind? You can type out your answers in the chat or you can unmute yourself and talk. Just one statement. And secondly is in terms of what kind of visuals did it ignite in your mind? When I play that piece of music, what visuals came to your mind? Just offhand, first time around, what were you thinking of? So did you hear that piece of music? Anybody who's willing to tell me what kind of visuals came to your mind when you heard that 30 seconds piece? Anybody? On the chat? Wonderful, thank you guys. Good. Okay, so Priya thought it was nature, Suchi Pathak thought mountains, Mihir also thought mountains, Kriti thought spring blossoms. Anybody else? Gopal Krishnan thought Japanese festival because of the pan flute, I can understand. And Nitin also got convinced by the Chinese flute. So he thought it was a Chinese doll that was dancing in the mountains. So wonderful. So what did music do? This is auto suggestion. This is what the power of music is. Okay, very quickly, guys, the same guys who gave me visuals, different guys also. What was the emotion it evoked, this piece of music? I'm waiting. I want to see the chat box. Fastest finger first, guys. Very good. Thank you. Okay. So Kriti, Ria, and Anisha have the same. Everybody says peace. It is calming you down. It is very soothing music, right? That's the emotion. Again, music is giving you emotion. Music is also triggering visuals in your mind. Okay, thank you guys. Now listen to this piece and tell me how different it is. Okay, okay. So if you can type both together, emotion as well as what visual did it trigger in your mind. Very nice. I'm getting responses. I'm very happy. Okay. Opera house, animals playing in the forest, fairy tale climax, orchestra room, Disney World. Emotions, please. Emotions as well as visuals, please. How different was this piece of music from the other? Gopal Krishnan thought it reminded him of Tom and Jerry. Interesting. Okay. So everybody is typing visuals. I want to get some emotions as well, please. Feeling, soothing. Okay. I thought it went beyond soothing, Sunesh. Tanishka, a sense of thrill. Okay. Interesting. Anybody else? Royalty, Siddharth. Every piece of music is going to give you a different kind of emotion. It's going to trigger off and reinforce emotions. It's going to give you different kinds of visual experiences. Right? Now, I'm moving away from the audio track and I'm playing you a very nice ad, the making of an ad. Okay? Because here, what has happened is they've used audio again to enhance this ad. So how was that? Bright, cheerful, sunny, right? Reminded you of breakfast. And look at the color schemes. Another interesting aspect comes to mind: production design, color schemes, and how music, lighting, color all affect and change our moods again. So it's not just music. Audio plays a very, very important role. But then you also come into stuff like production design. And you look at any Nescafe ad, it's bright, it's cheery, it's cheerful, it's peppy, because that's what coffee is meant to do, right? And coffee is meant to perk you up, meant to keep you going. And that's what this ad does for you, right? And, I could show you very fancy videos. I could show you very fancy films, but then you'll say, those are professionally done. We are students, we're just starting off. And that's where I want to correct you that even during these tough times, even during these pandemic times, you cannot let your creativity go waste. Because all of you have this little kida, little worm, little creative germ in your minds. All of you do. We are all born creative. In India, we have a nice term for it. We call it jugaad, but that's also creativity. How creative can you get doing what you're doing? And I'm showing you very short 1.5 minute films using only sound, only music and visuals done by students like yourselves for me, right? And they were completed in the last 3-4 months during the peak of the pandemic. And I want to share them with you just to give you, inspire you, get your creative juices flowing, get you running, saying that even in these tough times, we can not let our creativity go. Yeah. Okay. And quick 1.5 minute films before Balaman starts looking at a watch. And I quickly want to just show these films to you and just to inspire you to get you going. So please watch this. So this was shot by a student from his home, in Kerala, right? In Trivandrum during the peak. So he couldn't move out because Kerala was under lockdown. This is from a student in our home in Calcutta, in Kolkata. And it's just a matter of thinking out of the box and getting creative. Watch this. So did you like that? Did that bring a smile to your face? And how about this one? We didn't have. See, Dr. Saxena joining means the time is really running out. Otherwise, this is like final warning. Sorry. Okay. So
No, sir.
just wanted to.
Pankaj, I was enjoying. That is why I'm here.
No, that was just joking. The idea was to show you films that have been made. These are 3 films made by 3 students from different parts of the country. All have their own restrictions. Your creativity doesn't stop during the pandemic time. You see, and like all of you who are doing assignments from home, working online, the parents are sick. You guys are sick of your parents. The parents are sick of you using them as actors, using them as stand-ins for your assignments. So So they said, sir, can we do something where we do not involve our parents? Because our parents, our brothers, our siblings, everybody is tired of us. So I said, sure, but then let's get creative. And then the egg tray story came up. How a little shopping bag can be useful and useless and then become useful back again. Or that lovely portrayal of rain, just by changing music, tempo of shots, tempo in editing, and you can denote rain. And rain in Kerala is tremendous, is immense. Right? You have an entire vast canvas available to you. The only thing limiting it is your mind. If we only limit our own creativity, nobody else does. The only impediment, the only barrier, the only speed breaker to our creativity is we ourselves. And never think that something will not work out. Why shouldn't it work out? Give it a shot. Just give it a shot. Just to kind of wrap up before I take your questions, audio, very, very important. Sachin, how am I doing on time? Do I have 30 seconds to show something how important audio is?
Yes, sure, you can do that, sir.
Yeah, I can. One of the most iconic and the best way to judge this is when you look at fight sequences, stunt scenes, and try and watch them by muting your television sets. And you'll laugh and you'll find them, you'll wonder what's happening. Half the impact is lost or is gained only because of audio, because of music, because of sound effects, because of Foley's, right? And here is an example from one of the most iconic fight sequences in film. The idea was to show you one of the most iconic fight scenes in film from this great film and Matrix, and just get you to see it with and without audio, without music, the Foley's, the sound effects, and how different and dead it sounds without audio. So please don't ever underestimate the power of sound, of music, right? If I'm talking to you and suddenly I mute myself and you're wondering to you, but you can't still hear anything I'm saying, it's only because there's no audio. The audio is gone. That's how important it is. So please don't neglect audio, music, Foley's. Add richness to the creativity, the visual images that you're going to be showing to us, right? Now I think I should stop talking and I should let you guys give me something to answer to you. Let me talk to you about your queries, your questions, your doubts, because I have much more to show you. I could go on for another 1 hour, but I'd rather see what you've understood and take questions from you guys, if you have any.
I actually have many questions, but due to the paucity of time, I'll summarize. We have many similar questions related to filmmaking and production and everything. I'll quickly
Yes.
2 to 3 questions so that we can finish the session by 11:30 and the students can go to their next session.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So we have many kinds of questions. One is, I think one I have to ask. So students who are very curious. For example, the Netflix facility you told about, like, what are the new jobs like in comparison to, like, let's say the older film industry with OTT platforms coming up and Netflix setting up? What are the new job opportunities students want to ask that are there in filmmaking?
Tremendous amount of opportunity. You're lucky. OTT platforms kept us going for the last 20 months, right? They've kept us alive. They've kept us sane. And it's all been thanks to the various OTT platforms. OTT platforms need software. They need stuff to show to you and me. And that stuff, they are not doing so much themselves. as other production houses are doing it for them. And those production houses need people like you. They need people to work as assistants. They need people to handle cameras. They need people in the direction department, in the production design, art department, as sound recordists, as editors, and also as actors. Those of you who have ambitions of being in front of the camera. So your job opportunities have actually gone up tremendously because of this. So get hold of the platform, do a little bit of research on your own, find out the people who are doing supplying software content for these OTT platforms, approach them for work.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we have 2-3 questions. I'll combine them again. One is about storytelling. Like Atman is asking how to engage the audience in the very first 2-3 minutes of a short film. And one is this. Second, related to ad films, that is there an ad version of the 3-act story structure? And when you're not doing fiction storytelling?
Okay, you cannot get away from the 3-act structure, right? There has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. If it's in 60 seconds, they are saying the first 10% of your duration is your first act. So in a 100-page script, 120-page script, your first act is your first 12 pages. In an ad film, in the first 60 seconds, you have 60-second ad film, which what usually the time frame is. Your first 10 seconds, 6 to 8 seconds, you should set the premise out, right? So you cannot get away from that. And what is the beginning? What is Arman's question? The first one, sorry, Sachin.
Sir, Atman asked how to engage the audience in the first 2-3 minutes of a short film.
If you don't, Atman, they're going to zap you out. They have the freedom of choice. So if you, and a short film, it's even tougher because let's say 5 to 7 minutes is a short film, 10 minutes is a short film, which means, like you rightly said, 2 to 3 minutes. If you do not engage the audience in the first 2 to 3 minutes, so your question is how to, that's a 1 hour long answer, Atman. It's an entire script writing session, which I'm happy to do with you whenever Dr. Saxena wants. But the fact of the matter is, you have to engage them within the first few minutes, which is why it says within the first 10, the first act is, you have to reveal the genre, the premise, give introductions to your story, give introduction to your character. So all these 6-7 things should be there in your first act. You look at any American film, and I always give the example of Phone Booth. Within the first 11 minutes, Colin Farrell is trapped inside that phone booth, 2x2 square, the last surviving phone booth in New York, and he never comes out of it till the film is over. First 10 minutes of that film.
Thank you so much, sir. I have many more questions, but due to the paucity of time, I hope we can just continue the discussion with you at another opportunity.
You want to take in one more question?
Sir, I think we actually have the next session at 11:30.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Wrap it up.
Sure, sure.
I'd like to tell all my students, sir is always happy to answer us and interact with us. So hopefully we'll be organizing another session and we will be getting further questions in. So now I would request Head of the Department, Professor Dr. Sushmita Bala, to grace us with a few words.
Thank you, Sachin. It was nice session. सर का सेशन तो हमेशा बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग होता है और मतलब मैं तो बहुत एंजॉय करती हूँ. So thank you, Pankaj sir, for taking us to the wonderful world of movie images and sound. Actually, your lecture was like a story told to us all. You are a great storyteller, and that is in fact the essential quality of a filmmaker. In fact, that is to be a quality of a teacher as well. I'm sure your lecture would have inspired these students, and they will now initiate some good production by making use of the learning that they had in this session. Thank you, Pankaj sir. Actually, जो आपने जिस तरह से बताया, that was very nice, और जो छोटी सी films दिखाई, that was wonderful. Students को idea to implementation, जो मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ, That is very important for all of us कि आप पहले सोचिए, फिर उस पे काम करिए, रिसर्च करिए, then work on that. So wonderful session, sir. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry if we overshot the time, but wonderful session.
हाँ सर,
Thank you,
टाइम
Sachin.
थोड़ा कम है, हम नेक्स्ट सेशन भी आपके साथ बिल्कुल करेंगे. That was wonderful, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Saxena, Sachin. Thank you so much, kids. Wonderful being here. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you, sir. As I close this session, I would like to thank everyone involved. I would like to thank Pankaj, sir, who took an amazing session. And as usual, I think the special thing about Pankaj, sir, which I have noticed always, is he can actually get the essence of both the technique and essence of film without losing nuance in either. And I think that's something amazing. And as Bala ma'am said, sir, always put it across very in an interesting way. So it's not just insights about filmmaking; it's also about teaching and storytelling. I would also like to thank Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena and Professor Dr. Sushmita Bala for organizing and ideating session orientation program for all our students. I would like to thank all the teachers who have helped in recording in all the technical facets. And lastly, I want to thank all the students for joining. And I want to request them not to leave the session as we have the next session beginning. We have an amazing session about radio. We have Ms. Kajal Suri speaking to you. And I would request all of you to remain logged in as we go on to the next session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In DME, we believe in engagement and empowerment of students. And since the time this COVID-19 struck in 2020, we intensified this whole process.
For the education sector, it was a big challenge. At DME, our small dynamic team decided to take this challenge head on.
We organize different kind of programs, different webinars wherein the distinguished people from the industry and other walks of life, they are invited to interact with the students. We try to keep them engaged in taking out newsletter, writing stories, editing stories, and not only that, they make posters, they make cartoons, they write pieces for the newsletter.
Mentoring Cell at DME is a very unique feature in the ecosystem of education. While the subject teachers forge the knowledge domain strongly, it is the mentors who reach out to students in difficult times. During pandemic, when our students faced loss of their loved ones, home isolation, and several other family issues, mentors ensured that students remain cheerful, lively, and stay connected with us.
We have ensured that our students are treated with compassion, warmth, and gentle touch. And it has been our endeavor to treat all the academic activities of our students, which includes PSDA, internal assignment, and various other curricular activities accordingly.
Research Cell also pays huge emphasis on interdisciplinary nature of research. In order to promote this, the research centers of the Research Cell were also motivated to join with each other and conduct research activities for students, faculties within DME and outside DME.
While the strong academics and great industry connect is building great lawyers, media persons, and managers at DME, we at Mentoring Cell are enabling these future leaders to be compassionate, emotionally strong, and resilient for any times to come.
We empower the students. All the schools of DME, they have their students' council. In DME Media School, this council is part. They organize the program themselves, they take their own decisions, and they mobilize the students for all the good cause.
Art has the power to unite and connect during the times of crisis. Bringing people together, sharing, soothing, and inspiring are powers of art, which have been made empathically obvious by the DME cultural societies during the COVID-19 pandemic. By taking different innovative approaches in organizing various virtual competitions and events in which the students of DME have taken part with great enthusiasm and proved that DMEians are unstoppable.
Care with compassion is motto of DME. During Corona period, we were always with our students. Their well-being is primary for us. We take care of our students.
We met the expectations of the students, of the parents, and above all of the industry. The placements this year were better than those of the previous years. DME is committed to supporting its students in all possible ways.